Like the past 3 films, Sid the Kid just can't be stopped. Not that Sid the Kid.
I don't care about nothing. I don't care at all. Hit my soul and I roll from the ceiling. Nail my heart to the floor. I don't care about nothing. I don't care at all. If I live, if I die, if I'm nothing, I don't care anymore.
Scream 4 is the 4th movie in the Scream franchise, which is a horror movie franchise, as most of us are, I hope you all know. Parodies the cliches and stereotypes that you see from a lot of horror films of a certain generation. Like, I absolutely love the first Scream movie. I really love how it pokes fun at all the cliches and all the stuff that you've seen in all other horror films leading up to that one. I love the film so much. Now, I haven't seen the second and third one all the way through. I've just seen parts of them, and they're not as good. So that's why I was really anticipating Scream 4. Sidney Prescott, aka Neve Campbell's character from the series, ends up returning to Woodsboro to promote her new book, but as she returns, she ends up returning on the 15th anniversary of the original slayings, in which we also find out that Deputy Dewey is now Sheriff Dewey and is married to Gale Weathers, which is ironic because their marriage is on the rocks in this film. And the real-life marriage between Courtney Cox and David Arquette was on the rocks during shooting. Kind of ironic, huh? Maybe it was Courtney Cox's lips. So someone is trying to copy the standards of the first movie's murders, and they're trying to make a name for himself, so they all unraveled this whodunit mystery that we've seen in all the other Scream films before. Now, to point out for Scream 4, this movie is basically the cliches, the stereotypes, and everything that you'd see from the new generation of horror films. And to tell you what, they really poke fun at this film. I'm going to exclude reboots and remakes right now because even though that's the main one, I don't own any of these, but I'm going to use a couple examples. First, you have your very over-the-top and gory films that you almost can't even look at the screen. Then you have your types of horror films that always rely on those gotcha scare moments. And then a recent trend that's starting to grow now is the self-referential parody movies that poke fun at the cliches and reference other horror films in the process, which is what Scream is. But Shaun the Dead is awesome, by the way, too. Please see Shaun the Dead if you haven't already. Now, the performances in this film are good. Like, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette all do a good job with this film, and even the supporting cast that does, too. However, there is one character in this film that I just feel gets a little too ridiculous towards the end. But then again, that's our generation. We have ridiculous climaxes from a lot of horror films these days. So once again, another thing to poke fun at. The killings in this movie are very inventive in some scenes, and that's because I grew up as a gore hound at first on horror films until I ended up getting into the old school stuff, so most of that stuff's behind me, but it got back to me in this, of course. My favorite part about this film would definitely be the first 10 minutes, in which it just pokes fun at all the stuff that we've seen in the past 5 years or so in horror films. I mean, the first 10 minutes of this film are a godsend from the filmmakers. Wes Craven's direction is good in this film, just I kind of wish he toned down a bit on the pop-up scares because those are kind of getting overused in the series. Now, the reason that I can understand why they go for this kind of approach for the film is because I used to rent movies from Blockbuster when it was still intact years ago with my best friend who I lived next door to. We go there, we buy movies of the 3 genres I showed you before, the reboots, the remakes, even the direct-to-DVD horror films. We watch them all, so I am so familiar with the kind of cliches, stereotypes, and everything that they present. So maybe that's why I'm going to like this movie a lot more than most people are, because I think if people can't connect to this kind of generation of horror films, they're going to hate this film so much. But Kevin Williamson's script is really good in this film. It delivers a lot of sharp, self-referential dialogue, in which I kind of like those scripts a lot more than most of my friends do. If I could pick out any flaws, even though I wouldn't really say they're flaws because they relate to my generation of horror films again, is that the climax is very over the top, yet I've seen so many of those, so I can understand why they poke fun at those, and also how you have one character who gets so ridiculous at the end that you almost don't even buy it anymore, but once again, I have seen it so many times, so I can understand it. I know I might get some hate from some people for this, but I'm gonna give Scream 4 4 out of 5 stars. Like, I really enjoyed it, and that's mostly because I grew up on this new generation of reboots, remakes, gory films, direct-to-DVD releases, all that kind of stuff. So I hope you enjoyed my review of Scream 4. You can also find my future written review on aboutmovies.webs.com, and also follow me on Twitter. Links are in the description box below. And if you like this video, subscribe to my channel. You can watch more of my videos. I am so close to 200 subscribers, so please help me on this if you want to. And in the meantime, I'm Tyler from Calico Reviews, and I'll see you guys later.